My sister and I are twin foxes of the Chinku clan. But when my sister was born, she had a magnificent coat of fiery fur. The elders all believed she was an auspicious reincarnation. Yet when I was born, my fur was a dull, lifeless black. Everyone despised me, thinking I was a harbinger of disaster. Who would have thought, on the day of the coming-of-age ceremony, the fourth prince of the dragon clan wanted to marry me, but unexpectedly, my sister conspired with our parents to switch us. She took my bridal sedan, while I was married off to the licentious prince of the Zhao clan. Who knew, a few years later, the fourth prince of the dragon clan would break the heavenly laws. He was banished to the mortal realm. My sister, implicated, was also sent down to undergo trials. But the prince of the Zhao clan got an opportunity and ascended to become a dragon. I then became the queen of the dragon clan, revered by all clans. But who could have foreseen my sister's regret? She destroyed her inner core to perish with me. When I reopened my eyes, she was eagerly sitting in the bridal sedan heading to the Zhao clan. She thought she could be the dragon clan's queen in this life. But little did she know her choice was utterly wrong. On the day of the coming-of-age ceremony, a letter came from the Zhao clan asking to marry their prince, my supposedly auspicious reincarnated sister. Our parents were trembling in fear, not knowing what to do, their brows furrowed in worrying. The Zhao clan was known for their debauchery. Their prince was infamous for his licentiousness. For 1,000 years, he had harmed countless women. Some of them had even cultivated for 10,000 years. Enough to be his mother. Husband, what should we do? Mother stomped her feet in anxiety, tears streaming down her face. If our Ninger marries him, she won't have a good life. Who knows how much suffering she endure. But if we refuse this marriage, it could bring disaster to the Chinku clan. At that moment, a little fox shouted from outside. Fox King, Fox Queen, the fourth prince of the dragon clan seeks to marry the second princess. The fourth prince was the only offspring of the current dragon queen. Though just coming of age and not yet transformed, he was already highly regarded. The dragon king had once declared, just waiting for the fourth prince to successfully transform into a dragon before passing the throne to him. Originally worried about the Zhao clan's proposal for my sister, Mother immediately stopped her lament. She repeatedly confirmed with the little fox whether the dragon clan truly wanted Chen Shuang, and not Yuening. It was well known throughout Chinku that our parents favored my sister. My sister was their cherished treasure, while I was merely a burden, just because when my sister was born, the skies were illuminated with a brilliant glow, and countless phoenixes came to Chinku to nest. Her fiery fur became famous across the 4 seas and 8 realms. Everyone said she was an auspicious reincarnation, but when I was born, I was just a wrinkled little fox cub. It took 100 years for me to grow my first fox fur, and it was black. From the moment I was born, the auspicious signs my sister brought vanished completely. Dark clouds loomed, bringing several heavenly thunders. Father, unable to avoid them, had his fox tail severed by the lightning. He was ridiculed by the 4 seas and 8 realms for 1,000 years. Thus I was named Chen Shuang, as lowly as dust. My sister was named Yuening, as bright as the moon in the sky. While our parents were fretting, my sister stepped forward and snatched the Zhao clan's marriage proposal, confidently declaring, "How could I let you be troubled? I am willing to marry the prince of the Zhao clan." Father hurried to cover her mouth, shouting, "You are our precious daughter. We can't bear to see you suffer." My sister's gaze was firm. "Father, mother, the prince of the Zhao clan may be a bit frivolous, but that is merely a common male flaw. I believe he is not an ordinary being. One day, he might ascend to become a dragon. Don't worry. I recently obtained a secret manual on bedroom techniques. I will surely make him devoted to me. By then, I will certainly become the dragon clan's queen." Hearing about the dragon ascension, I immediately understood. My sister had also reincarnated. In my past life, when my sister heard that the fourth prince of the dragon clan wanted to marry me, she went mad with jealousy. She colluded with our parents to switch us, successfully taking my place in the dragon clan's bridal sedan. They turned around and married me off to the prince of the Zhao clan. Our parents said my sister was the pride of Chinku. Marrying into the dragon clan was only right. Well, I was just a dark, unlucky fox, perfectly suited for the filthy prince of the Zhao clan. But what they didn't expect was that, though the fourth prince of the dragon clan was the queen's biological son, he was inherently weak. Even after coming of age, he couldn't transform. My sister, anxious, secretly used forbidden spells to help the fourth prince transform. But unfortunately, the fourth prince was not a true dragon prince, but just an earthworm. He couldn't even reproduce. The dragon king, convinced the fourth prince wasn't his blood, banished him to the mortal realm in a fit of rage. My sister went with him to undergo trials. Meanwhile, I and the prince of the Zhao clan were inseparable, always together. Later, the prince of the Zhao clan's power greatly increased, and he ascended to become a dragon. I became the dragon clan's queen. But my sister didn't know. Though I appeared glamorous, I was living a life worse than death. The world speculated that I used fox charm techniques to make the prince of the Zhao clan, a former playboy, fall for me. In truth, it was all his scheme. He was only interested in my special constitution, using me to fulfill his peculiar desires. My dignity and pride had long been crushed by him. I couldn't even choose my own death. The world envied me, saying the prince of the Zhao clan gave me all his love. But in reality, to him, I was just a cultivation tool. My sister in the mortal realm turned into a common woman. When she heard I became the dragon clan's queen, she went mad with jealousy. With eyes blazing red, she rushed into my residence, detonating her golden core to perish with me. As our wedding day arrived, our parents held my sister's hand, reluctant to let go, giving her countless instructions. Yuaning, you must take good care of yourself, and diligently practice the charm techniques. My sister, losing patience, dismissively pushed away our mother's hand. Just wait for me to become the queen. On my wedding day as well, mother couldn't even bear to look at me, only urging me to get into the bridal sedan, as if relieved to finally send off this jinx. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but feel a bit desolate. They had never treated me well since I was a child. In my past life, for my sister's happiness, they pushed me into the fire pit without hesitation. This life is no different. I didn't even have a proper dowry, while my sister had a 10-mile-long dowry procession. Mother even gave her beloved dowry jewelry to my sister. What I longed for, my sister disdainfully tossed into her dowry box. I was the most diligent and the most accomplished fox cub among my peers. On the day I achieved great cultivation, I also longed for my parents' praise, but mother showed no interest. Your aptitude is average. You only achieve success through hard work. What's there to be proud of? Your sister is naturally gifted, and she isn't as competitive as you. That's true greatness. Later, my sister struggled to complete second-tier spells, yet our parents wanted to announce it to the world. They told everyone about her extraordinary talent. Occasionally, someone would praise me, but our parents would laugh it off, shaking their heads in disdain. She's nothing compared to her sister. Oh well. I've long been used to it, haven't I? There's nothing to be sad about. After all, their precious daughter will have endless suffering in the future. Why should I bother with them? The Dragon Clan's bridal sedan took me all the way to the fourth prince's mansion. As soon as I settled in the bridal chamber, I sensed something was wrong. The fourth prince's mansion was eerily quiet. Apart from some usual red decorations, it hardly looked like a prince's wedding. Yet, I distinctly remember my sister's wedding in the past life was grand, talked about across the 4 seas and 8 realms. Our parents walked with their heads held high for months. Many young and beautiful foxes envied my sister. Why was it so shabby for me? Could it be that in the past life he knew my sister was marrying in my place and took extra care? He was just as biased and believed in rumors. But that's not right. Both lifetimes, his marriage proposal clearly sought me, Chen Shuang. I couldn't understand, but decided to be patient and observe. I don't know how long passed. The sky was already dark. There were sounds outside. A man seemed drunk, slurring his words, dragging his feet closer. If it weren't for the old fox of Qingku, I'd fly there right now and take her back. He mumbled, even hiccuped from the alcohol. Could he mean my sister? Indeed, the one he truly wanted to marry was my sister. After all, she was the auspicious reincarnation, while I was just a jinx. But he went too far. Pretending to want to marry me, stepping on my dignity, he suddenly pushed open the door, sat at the table, not wanting to come near me, sullenly drinking alone. She must be the Zhao clan's princess by now. I, a dignified prince of the Dragon clan, couldn't marry the one I love. Anger flared up in my heart. Why? Everyone loves my sister. This is supposed to be my wedding night. Why is he acting so lifeless? If you love her, go find her. Why torment me? Is the fourth prince of the Dragon clan a coward, only daring to vent in front of a woman? Furious, I ripped off the red veil from my head, pointing at his nose and scolding him. He saw my face and instantly froze in place. The wine jug in his hand rolled far away. You're Chen Shuang. I rolled my eyes at him. Obviously, this princess never changes her name. I am indeed Chen Shuang of Qingku. He furrowed his brows, carefully examining my angry face, then shook his head, waving his hand in frustration. Impossible. You can't be her. You must have used a disguise technique to look like her and deceive me. The old foxes of Chinku never cared for her. If there was a good marriage, it would definitely be given to Yue Ning. Never to her. How did he know about my sister's replacement? My curiosity grew stronger. I decided to be direct and asked him. Then who do you wish I were? Who do you truly want to marry? He sighed deeply, rubbing his temples. I want to marry your sister Chen Shuang, not you, Princess Yue Ning. I was so angry, I cried. Standing right in front of him, he couldn't recognize me, and he said he wanted to marry me. What a fool. Look closely. I transformed into my true form. A pitch-black little fox, the world knows. The second princess of Chinku is the only black fox in millennia. An omen of disaster. He rubbed his eyes, then held me in his palms, carefully stroking my glossy, smooth fox fur. He immediately jumped up with joy. It really is you. You are my Chen Shuang. My fox sister. The term seemed somewhat familiar. With a silly grin, he carried me towards the bed. I warily escaped from his grasp. Why are you so anxious? It's our wedding night, he said. His handsome face blushed. I angrily transformed back into human form and scolded him harshly. Long King Yuan. You are shameless. Seeing my anger, he panicked. Chen Shuang. Listen to me. Do you remember the mermaid in the back mountain of Chinku? As he spoke, he revealed his tail. A blue, glistening fishtail. I remembered. When I was young, I liked to practice alone in the back mountain. One day I found a mermaid in the pond. His tail was injured. Blue blood flowing out, almost turning the pond blue. I kindly rescued him from the pond, carefully bandaging his wound. When he woke up, he timidly asked me, Fox sister, did you save me? I nodded. For a long time after that, I secretly brought delicious snacks to visit him in the back mountain. As he recovered, he occasionally went to the mountain to hunt wild chickens for me. He roasted them for me to eat. I remember clearly, his roasted chicken was extremely delicious. But for some reason, he left without saying goodbye. I never saw him again. I looked at his unparalleled handsome face and sneaked a glance at his tail. So, the dignified fourth prince of the dragon clan actually has a fish tail. No wonder he couldn't transform into a dragon in his past life. I looked at him with a mix of pity and compassion. No one understands better than I do how pitiful it is to be an outcast in one's own clan. Little mermaid. So it was you all along. Seeing that, I remembered. He excitedly hugged me tightly, whispering broken words in my ear. Warm tears fell on my cheek. Chen Shuang. Do you know? Not being able to marry you in my past life was my greatest regret. This time, I will protect you no matter what. Could Long King Yuan have seen it too? Knowing the full story now, I couldn't calm my heart. He was urgently summoned back to the dragon clan back then, so he couldn't say goodbye to me. Later, when he came of age, he formally sought to marry me from Chinku, bringing me in with the highest honors. But unfortunately, due to a twist of fate, the person in the sedan was my sister. He didn't want to be close to my sister, but she misunderstood it as his lack of cultivation ability, thinking he couldn't have offspring. So she defied the natural order, using forbidden spells. However, it backfired. The forbidden spell not only didn't help him transform into a dragon, but turned him into an earthworm instead. He was misunderstood by the Dragon King, and ridiculed by the Four Seas and Eight Realms. Eventually, he was banished to the mortal realm. In this life we both reincarnated, and we didn't miss each other this time. On our wedding night, Long King Yuan was shy. I had already lain down behind the curtains, but he hesitated, not daring to move. My lady, do you know my true form is an ice blue dragon? The fish tail is due to my inherent deficiency. My current cultivation is insufficient, and it might affect our dual cultivation, so that's what he was worried about. When he first discovered my identity, he couldn't wait to consummate the marriage. Now that it was really time, he became timid, but he didn't know. In my past life, I was fed aphrodisiacs by Li Jiao daily, constantly practicing energy absorption techniques with demonic beasts. Though I suffered greatly, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I mastered a unique dual cultivation technique. Li Jiao ascended to dragonhood because of this technique. I took his hand and placed it on my chest. Husband, don't be afraid. Follow my lead. I closed my eyes and regulated my breathing. My cultivation flowed continuously into his body, blending with his. Gradually, he caught on and took the lead. His talent was exceptional. I demonstrated only once, and he maneuvered so forcefully that I couldn't keep up. After one round, I massaged my sore waist, repeatedly calling for a break. He looked satisfied, and was delighted to find his fishtail gradually transforming into a dragon tail. My lady, this dual cultivation method truly works. Under my guidance, King Yuan's body grew stronger, and he became significantly taller. The Dragon King was pleased to see his rapid progress. He knew King Yuan's transformation was imminent. Another piece of good news drew the attention of the 4 seas and 8 realms. I was pregnant. The Dragon Clan's royal physician was both surprised and delighted after checking my pulse. Your Highness, this seems to be a multiple pregnancy. King Yuan was overjoyed. He had thought he couldn't impregnate a woman. Now not only was I pregnant so quickly, but it was a rare multiple pregnancy. After all, it was difficult for the Dragon Clan to have offspring. Mostly single births. And it took 500 years to birth a dragon child. Our Fox Clan, on the other hand, was known for multiple births, especially with my unique cultivation technique. I wasn't surprised to be carrying multiple babies. Everyone speculated whether King Yuan and I could produce dragon offspring. After all, he is the future Dragon King. So it's crucial to have quality heirs. My sister heard the news of my pregnancy in the Zhao clan as well. She came directly to visit. Along with her came her husband, Li Zhao. I knew my sister's intentions were not good. I wasn't afraid she would do anything to me. But Long King Yuan was at a critical stage of his transformation. I couldn't allow any mishaps. In the past life, he suffered a backlash because of my sister's use of forbidden spells, ending in a tragic fate. Now that I am his consort, his transformation should go smoothly. But I heard a few days ago that Li Zhao was already married. In just a few months, he became the Zhao King, and now ruled the Zhao clan. But I distinctly remember, in the past life, it took him 10 years to achieve this. How did it happen so early this time? Seeing Li Zhao again, I couldn't help but tremble all over. The pain from the past life seemed to return. The humiliation of being forced into dual cultivation felt like a sharp blade, piercing me all over. He was my nightmare. Even hearing his name made me break out in a cold sweat. Sensing my emotional turmoil, Long King Yuan tightened his grip on my hand, silently comforting me. Gradually, I felt more at ease. From the moment my sister stepped through the door, her seductive fox eyes never left Long King Yuan. I knew her intentions too well. In the past life, my sister coveted Long King Yuan's handsome appearance, but he kept her at a distance. Even after they were banished to the mortal realm, she never got close to him, never even touched his hand. In this life, Long King Yuan was even more handsome than before. While Li Zhao was a sinister and ugly man, being close to him was always deeply nauseating and chilling. Naturally, she was mad with jealousy. She couldn't help but speak. Sister, I didn't expect you to be pregnant so soon. I haven't had the chance to congratulate you yet. Well, you were born an outcast in the Fox clan. Though the 4th prince is noble and handsome, who knows if you will drag him down and give birth to some little monster. She laughed delicately, covering her mouth. Long King Yuan wanted to defend me, but I pressed down his hand, stopping him in time. Thank you, sister. You always praise the 4th prince for his nobility and handsomeness. Are you subtly mocking the Zhao King? Besides, instead of worrying about my pregnancy, you should put more effort into bearing an heir for the Zhao King soon. My sister's face changed at my words. She glanced carefully at Li Zhao, weakly explaining. I didn't mean that. Li Zhao's promiscuity wasn't an outright wicked thing, but his ugliness inevitably made people gossip, calling him a hideous monster. Li Zhao's face showed no anger. Instead, he affectionately adjusted my sister's hair. My lady, I understand your intentions. No need to explain further. Despite Li Zhao's words, my sister was still uneasy. I understood her fear of Li Zhao. It was exactly how I felt in the past life. I wanted to send them off quickly, but my sister insisted on staying in the Dragon Clan for a while, saying she wanted to look after my pregnancy for our mother. I couldn't refuse her outright, so I had to accommodate them in the mansion. For some reason, Li Zhao kept staring at me with a terrifying look, his gaze shamelessly lingering on me. I felt completely uncomfortable. Long King Yuan stepped in front of me, coldly saying, Zhao King, if you keep staring at my consort, don't blame me for showing no mercy to the Zhao clan. Sensing Long King Yuan's anger, Li Zhao finally averted his eyes, respectfully apologizing to me. I had a constant feeling that Li Zhao was plotting something, but out of courtesy, I had to feign civility with them. During the meal, Long King Yuan considerately picked dishes for me, piling my plate high. Li Zhao only cared about himself. I secretly observed my sister. In just a few months of marriage, she looked extremely haggard. In contrast, I had become plumper due to Long Qingyuan's care. She must be drained by Li Zhao's daily energy absorption practices. Her body was severely weakened. Li Zhao was obsessed with these techniques, believing that continuous practice could defy fate and ascend to become a dragon. Among the Zhao clan, he had used this technique on almost all women, young and old. While eating, my sister suddenly looked at my belly with envy. I didn't expect you to be carrying multiples. Why? Does Yue Ning want a child too? Li Zhao glared at her, and my sister immediately fell silent, burying her head in her food. I understood my sister's thoughts. She must regret it. In the past life, even though she was banished to the mortal realm with Long Qingyuan, it was better than being tortured by Li Zhao now. On the critical day of Long Qingyuan's transformation, he repeatedly warned me to be cautious of Li Zhao and my sister. I was alone and pregnant. Though my cultivation was strong, I felt inexplicably anxious. Even though Qingyuan had increased the guards in my courtyard and set up restrictions around it, I still couldn't feel at ease. Chen Shuang. I turned around abruptly. Li Zhao was leaning against my door, a sinister smile on his lips, calling my name ambiguously. My heart skipped a beat. What are you here? Ignoring my question, he continued, with a hint of resentment. In this life, how could you marry someone else?